The board on your back shifts with every step you take into the grass. Across ancient hunter-gatherer populations, nearly half of all children never reached puberty. So who, exactly, was watching the baby while you held the spear? You're probably picturing one woman, alone, juggling a baby and a fire. That image is almost entirely wrong. In 2023, evolutionary anthropologist Nikhil Chaudhary at the University of Cambridge studied the Mbengeli Bayaka, hunter-gatherers in the Republic of Congo, whose patterns are believed to mirror ancestral life. The finding: infants received roughly 9 hours of attentive physical contact daily. Not from one parent, but from an average of 15 different caregivers. Some children had more than 20. In human terms, if the mother was tired, injured, or simply gone, 14 other people had already held that child today. Every cry had backup. This number, 15 caregivers, doesn't describe babysitting. It describes a civilization engineered around one fact: a single parent was never enough, and nobody expected one to be. The cradleboard wasn't a crib. It was a hands liberation device. A rigid wooden frame strapped an infant's spine and limbs still, turning a wriggling, unpredictable weight into a fixed load the caregiver could climb with, dig with, fight with. This wasn't furniture. It was the difference between 2 free hands and 0. The carrying sling worked on the opposite principle: not rigidity, tension. Woven fabric routed the infant's weight diagonally across the torso, onto the body's strongest connective tissue instead of the arms. This wasn't fabric. It was a physics solution that let a forager dig, nurse, and scan the horizon, all at once. Here's the part that surprises people. A baby's skull bones aren't fused yet. Sustained pressure from the cradleboard would slowly, permanently reshape it. Some cultures noticed. They didn't fix it. They engineered it, pressing specific head shapes into infants on purpose, using the exact same board to signal status. A tool built to free your hands accidentally became a tool that altered human anatomy. Nobody saw that coming. Everybody used it anyway. You're crouched in tall grass, 60 feet from a herd that hasn't noticed you. The baby on your back has learned something most adults never have to learn. That silence, at the exact right moment, is survival. Not its own. Everyone's. 40 feet to your left, someone else is doing nothing but watching a child. Not laziness. The job today. Tomorrow the assignments flip. The split wasn't strict by gender. It was strict by capacity. Whoever was least useful to today's hunt, an older sibling, a grandparent, an injured adult, became the caregiver. Back at camp, a newborn is passed from arm to arm so often that by 18 weeks old, it has spent more total hours in strangers' arms than in its mother's. Decoupling who hunts from who watches the baby meant the group never wasted manpower on a good day and never left a child alone on a bad one. The skull presses flat against the board with every step. The smell of crushed grass. 15 voices, low and constant, back at camp, holding babies that aren't their own. Because nearly half of all children wouldn't survive to puberty, no single safeguard was ever trusted alone. Multiple caregivers. Multiple carrying methods, multiple chances, not fatalism, redundancy, built into flesh, bone, and braided cord. Because the technology to prevent death didn't exist yet, people did instead, stacked, deliberately, around every child. The infant survives, or it doesn't. But never because of just one person. The shift began roughly 10,000 years ago, when nomadic bands settled into farms, then villages, then cities. The alloparent network needed mobility and small group size to work. Settlement broke both. Households fragmented. 15 caregivers contracted toward 2. What replaced it was institutional. Daycare, nannies, schools. Supervision without the dense, overlapping web of kin ancient infants were born into. Structural redundancy, gone. Structural fragility, installed in its place. The cost shows up as exhaustion. Alloparental care once let a mother forage unencumbered, fed, and protected. Without it, modern caregivers absorb, alone or in pairs, a load once split across more than a dozen people. The vulnerability is specific. If the one or two adults responsible for a child get sick, get overwhelmed, disappear for a night, there's no automatic backup. There used to be 13. You check a baby monitor from another room. They had 15 hands that already knew how to hold that child. You worry alone at 3 a.m. about a fever. They had a camp that had survived this exact fear 100 times before. You call it babysitting. They called it staying alive, split evenly across everyone still breathing. You raise a child behind one door. They raised it in the open, with no doors at all. The tribe didn't just raise the child. The tribe was the nursery, and we tore it down, one front door at a time, and called the silence independence. This content is intended for educational and documentary purposes only. All references are drawn from peer-reviewed anthropological research and named academic sources.